Hello everybody, Dave here for the next episode of Dave Gets Wood, where off camera I've just given the underside of the table a little sanding. Just some water on it. I went with a slightly coarser grit. I wanted around about 300ish, but I seem to be out of those, so it was either 240 or 400, and the 240 just felt too coarse really, so I went with the 400, and I've gone over it with that for a couple of reasons. One, to try and smooth the table down a bit, but two, to also be able to focus on some areas of the table where it was still feeling a little bit rough from the wood, and to properly get those now sanded down. And that's tended to be around areas where I'd worked the table, so if we'd like carved out the table and things like that. So I wanted to get all of that sorted out. Otherwise, when I continue on with the coats, if I leave too many bits that are sticking up and then I go sanding it, I'm going to sand it down, but then I'm going to go through the coats and I'm going to end up with different coloured bits, and that's not what I'm after. So I've done that sanding now. What I'll do as well, because I will fast forward the next video clip, because what we're going to do now is, I'm just waiting for it to dry, but I'm going to go for another fine sanding of about 600 grit. I may even go one further and go to about 1000, just to try and get it real smooth. And then we're going to be applying another coat of dark oak, and I'm going to try and do it, I'm going to say, a little more aggressively. Not aggressively really, it's more apply a bit more, try and get it moved about quicker, make sure when I've applied over done a couple of lengths, that I then wipe off the excess and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be doing now. But I will also at the start, I'll get the leg to try and show the colour difference of the table at the moment compared to one of the darker legs, or darker sides of the leg, and then that'll give a good view then, hopefully, of how far along we are on the colour spectrum. I haven't started doing varnishing on all the individual pieces yet. I do need to do that. However, my work table is it's got the new sander on it at the moment, and the little coffee table that I've been working on. So ideally I kind of need to find somewhere to put the machine, so that I can then either get that little coffee table finished while I'm dealing with the tabletop, so the coffee table can then go, or I find somewhere to put the coffee table as well. Now the coffee table does fit under the table I'm working with at the moment, but I don't really want to put it down there, so we'll have to wait and see. But it's been in the way for me, whether it's been in the apartment, out there, or downstairs in the doorway, or in the boot of the car. It's been in the way a lot, so it's kind of handy that it's on the table over there now and just out of the way, but it's getting to the point where it's holding me up, so I need to get that sorted. Anyway, let's crack on, shall we? Do a bit of sanding, give it a clean, wait for it to dry, and then at some point we'll get ready for that next coat of dark oak, unless the colour is I'm more than happy with, and we'll go clear. But I do want dark oak. Should make it 4, I think. Right, let's go. Okay, as you can see, the table is looking nice and shiny with a nice reflection. However, it's still wet. So what I ended up doing was sanded it with 400, then 600, then 800 while it was still damp from having cleaned it from the 600. I didn't have any 1000 grit, but I have got 1200. I tried doing it by hand, but it was just sticking. Using the tool was a lot easier, but it also basically let me find out that I needed more water applying, because where it was getting stuck it was sticking. But it is wet dry sanding paper, so you can use it wet or dry. Now it should hopefully have left us a very nice smooth surface. I mean, 1200 is quite a fine grit, but what I need to do is to let the table dry. Once it has dried, I'm then going to give it probably give it a wipe over with white spirits, just to make sure it is really clean, because my cloth was getting very dirty there, so I'm going to have to grab another cloth. So we'll probably give it a clean with white spirit. Buggered. And then we'll let it dry, and then I'll probably let it dry for quite some time, and then we'll apply the coat. And you'll have noticed as well that the leg was almost invisible on the table at the start of the video, or start of this particular clip, not this clip, the previous clip. So the colour match is about right. I could go to a clear from here, but I want to apply that extra coat of dark oak because I need to perfect my technique a little bit more. Now I am half tempted to go with French polishing technique, which is basically cotton wool bundled up in a cloth, but the right type of cloth, so that you then dip that into the varnish and apply it with that rather than a sponge or a brush. Yeah, I haven't got any cotton wool or the material that I really want to use. It says use like a cotton t-shirt. If you use a cotton t-shirt for a white one, because of other colours obviously have been bleached, so it could affect your colour. Because from what I gather, me doing it with a sponge is actually very close to doing it as a French polish. So if I can perfect the French polish technique, if it's better than what I'm using at the moment, then that helps me out tenfold. But as I haven't got the stuff to do that, but I do, as I said, I do want to try and get another coat on. But not only that, once that coat is on, I do want to then put one clear coat. But again, it'll need a bit of a sand before a clear coat goes on. But that's why, again, why I've done all the work on this coat now. So the next coat's going onto a nice smooth surface, then that'll get sanded, but it won't have to go back to 400, 600 or 800. I can go 1200 or above, would be the plan. So we'll go 1200 and up a bit, then apply the clear coat, and then when that's dry, we could perhaps give it like a really fine sand, say 3,000 to 5,000. But anyway, right, enough waffling for me for the moment, so that's this video done for now. So we'll let this dry, and we'll give it a clean, and then we'll varnish again on the next one. Okay, it's time to give it another coat. where if you're new to this and you don't really know what's going on, basically I'm doing some woodworking projects because I'm a bit fucking bonkers. Well, I must be to the amount of fucking projects I've got going on at the minute. Anyway, I've cleaned it with white spirits, and now I'm going to apply the coat of dark oak, which should be the last coat of dark oak. So let's crack on. Hello everybody, a little bit of an update for you. Okay, I've put the varnish on. Difficult for me to really see how good it's going. I don't know why it is. I don't know whether it's because of the sunlight or what, but it's not easy for me to see what is happening with the table, which is very unusual. So I'm doing the best that I can. Also, some marks appeared on the table and I have absolutely no idea how. Like, one of them is almost like an 8-inch curved mark. I have no idea how that got there, considering that it's not been that long since I cleaned the table to when I varnished it, so I've no idea where that came from, unless it came from the plastic tub that I put on the table. Yeah, and I went with the plastic tub to hold the varnish because it was the last bit of varnish in the tin, but also I wanted to use a different type of sponge, which is it's a bit denser than the ones I have been using, but it means that it's the way it's bonded together is much tighter. So I was hoping there'd be less chance of streaks, but I did apply quite a bit more varnish, not loads more, just a bit more, and I was able to pull excess up, but that's where I've then struggled to see how the table's actually looking. So yeah, we'll let it dry. I'm going to need to let it dry for a few hours really, because of wanting to do a bit of a very light sanding on it before putting the clear coat on. Ideally, I'd like to get the clear coat on today so that I can take the masking tape off, so that I can work out if there's anything wrong or any marks on the sides of the table which I'll need to deal with. Now, the only way I'm really going to be able to do that is either by using a bit of the stripper or sanding it down, but I'm hoping that we should be okay, but we'll find out. Now, annoyingly, I've only got the one of the sponge that I used, the white one. That was the only one of those I've got left, so I'm going to see if I can wash it, and then I can actually no, it won't work because the next one's clear. Even if I wash that, I'm not going to be able to get it perfectly clean. Maybe I can if I soak it in white spirits, but yeah, I might have to use the other sponges. Anyway, right, done for now. So have a good one everybody, and we'll see you all on the next one.